Hello, Cancer. Welcome to your end of December 2019 General Tarot Update. It's Reina here. And yeah, on a Saturday night, this is how I have a good time. And I know that there are people out here, even on Saturday night, because I do hear from people who are like me, probably introverts, not really big into socializing. There was this, I read this thing and I thought, wow, that is like so perfect. And they said that extroverts obtain their energy from their interactions with other people. Like they get energized through people, and introverts get drained from other people. And I was like, that totally nails it, because I don't consider myself shy where I'm just afraid to talk to a stranger or anything like that. If I had to, I could, but I just don't feel like in most social situations that I gain a lot of energy from it, unless it's like a spiritual gathering where there's like, it seems like meaningful, but just like the typical thing where you're just making small talk at a party, I just can't, you know what I mean? I did, you know, I certainly had my years when I did that, but it just never really felt like, you know, something that was comfortable. It felt very awkward. So anyway, and then, you know, the funny thing is, I've had experiences where I have been like sitting on a park bench and somebody has told me their life story, and you know, it's like I've had those experiences more than once where I didn't even catch the person's name, but we had very deep conversation. And that to me is what it's all about. It's not about in these contrived settings. When you can connect with somebody, you can do that in any kind of a space. It doesn't have to be like in like a party or something like that. And usually at a party, it's going to be more shallow. Not always, you know, sometimes people have some very meaningful conversations at parties. But in any case, I know there's going to be somebody, okay, the reading starts at, 3 minutes into it. And of course, I should say, ooh, the Sun card, that's always a good one. And I haven't been getting that for the other sign, so you get it. You get the Sun. Here comes the Sun. That'll probably be the title. Okay, there's certain cards that I don't end with, and one of them is the Ten of Swords. It's funny, it seems like that there was another situation where I picked an additional card and it was the Three of Wands. And there's a reason for that, I feel. Okay, I want to say something before I continue. On the 25th, or, Christmas, or the day after, depending on where you live in the world, there is going to be a solar eclipse, which is a powerful new moon. 3 times as powerful, supposedly. These kind of things, those kinds of, using like exact numbers and stuff like that, that strikes me as a little silly, but I'll go along with it. But, it's considered a greater effect of new beginnings. And this is going to be in your opposite sign of Capricorn, 4 degrees of Capricorn. But in addition to that, there is a conjunction with Jupiter at 5 degrees of Capricorn, as well as a trine from Taurus at 2 degrees of of Uranus at 2 degrees of Capricorn. Uranus at 2 degrees of Taurus. Okay. I swear to God, all I'm drinking is apple cider. Warm apple cider. So the point being that I feel like there could be some happy surprises here. And also, this feeling of good luck. And what I like about Capricorn is that it's an earth sign and it's also a cardinal sign. And so to me, it means business. It's not about vague desires. It's really about, crystallizing the vision into like material reality. And one thing, because when I said vague desires, I was thinking about Jupiter in its own sign of Sagittarius. And Sagittarius rules the 9th house. It's a mental house. So even though, 2019 was supposed to be so auspicious, especially, for somebody like me who is a sun in Sagittarius, Jupiter operates in Sagittarius probably, it seems like more on the mental level. So it might have expanded a person's vision. But remember that vision is just one part of it. You have to make it happen. And that's what I like about Capricorn, is that being a cardinal sign, and of course you're a cardinal sign too, Cancer, is that it's taking that action, and that's what gets the result. The vision is important, don't get me wrong, but also taking the action. Having that discipline, that's, Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, all that good stuff. Okay, so we have two major arcana cards here. We have the Judgment card and we have the Sun card. The Judgment card is number 20 and the Sun is number 19. Interesting. So they're right next to each other. So the heart of the matter is the Judgment card, and it's not focusing. Why is that? And the Judgment card is a card of rebirth, and there's that sense of like, hallelujah, something is happening that is, a new beginning, but it's within you. Maybe you're starting off in a new direction. And of course, again, Cancer, you have been experiencing these eclipses with Capricorn. That's the eclipse cycle. And it's going to continue in 2020 all year. But we're going to have also Gemini and Sag, which will be interesting because we're going to have two sets of eclipses. Two different sets in 1 year. And the thing is that you have, tied to the eclipses are the transing nodes, and you have the North node transing, in your sign. So for Cancer people, ever since the end of 2018, you may have been feeling like, I don't know, like the average Cancer, if you had like an amazing year, or if there were like some major challenges, but either way, it probably felt like an important year. And so you wouldn't just like, even if you had like some bad things happen, you wouldn't just write it off as like, oh wow, that was just a crappy year. You would say, wow, this was an intense year. And intense meaning that there was a sense of gravitas, a sense of like, wow, this year has been heavy, but it's also been meaningful. It's also been important. The Judgment card to me is almost like a lightening up, like you're kind of past the test in a certain way. It's also connected to the karmic idea of like cause and effect. And that is, it's funny, I said karmic because karma means action. So if you take an action, you get an effect. A lot of people misunderstand and they think karma means punishment. And so they automatically think, okay, this person's getting their karma. Well, what did that person do? That will determine what they get. And so you may be drawing those connections for whatever reason. But to me, I don't know why, but there's a sense of freedom to me associated with this. Like you are somehow loosening oppressive ties. That's just something that came into my mind right now, and I feel it. Maybe it's because I'm looking at these people in the picture and they just have this sense, that kind of body language of like, I'm free, all of us are free. And you see the fire, it's like walking through the fire. What do they call them? Baptism through fire? That's why I was saying passing that test, and now you're free. That's what the rebirth, I guess you would say. And sometimes too, like it can be like a legal judgment, like getting free from an unhappy marriage. Even though this particular eclipse is going to be a solar eclipse in your 7th house of marriage, partnership, I have had, personal clients, and I just in general, I could see logically that, even though you might associate that with a full moon or an ending or lunar eclipse in the 7th house, a solar eclipse to me works just as well, because eclipses are about change. And it's like a divorce can be a change too. And, the 7th house can be legal matters. So the judgment, like getting that pronouncement by a judge, that can be your route to freedom. In the past position, we have the 8 of Wands. This can be a lot of activity just kind of coming up at you all at once. You actually had that Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, that would be your 5th house of love, okay? And so there was some kind of stalling or something along those lines. And then all of a sudden, in December when Mercury went out of its shadow, that area was free to express itself, completely. And that may have been when it was like all systems go. Now, because I'm getting here the Sun card, this may be somebody in your life, like a love interest that you have been waiting to be able to like explore freely. Because if you have been in, a committed relationship, you probably wanted to kind of get out of that first. And it's like all of a sudden everything can happen. And the 8 of Wands can connect to a fire sign, and this would be talking about Leo. Now, this is the higher message. It seems like there's problems with focus tonight. I don't know what's going on. It must be some kind of a setting. Yeah, now it's focused. This card is associated with love, healing, success, just about every positive attribute that you can think of. Children. And as a spiritual message, to me, as I'm seeing those top cards, I feel something about you and deserving. What is it that you deserve, Cancer? Maybe you have put yourself on a shelf and you've been devoting your life to other people, and now you feel that it's your turn. And this is what I would say also about the North Node in your sign. It's like the 1st house. So it's like now it's focusing on you and what you're, pursuing your joy. It's not either or. You can take care of other people and then take care of yourself. And that's, and also take care of yourself. I don't mean put yourself last, but also take care of yourself. So The 3 cards on top to me are movement and on the emotional level, joy. And so what crosses you is the Ace of Swords. This is a card of the truth shall set you free to me. And in the challenge position, you know, when I get an ace in the challenge position, I think this person may want to move forward, but there may be mitigating circumstances that prevent them from moving forward. They may have to, like in your case, you may have to be willing to see something more realistically before this can happen. And I even see, like, if this is not, if you are not involved in a relationship that resembles what I'm talking about, and if this is more of a professional matter, the Judgment card can relate more to a sense of I think more about individuality. So even starting your own business, that's what, you know, with that Mercury retrograde in the 5th house, you may have been kind of mulling over the idea and you decide to go forward. Definitely in December and January, these are green light months for launching things in particular. And you could even say in February, you know, we are going to have a Mercury retrograde in March. But, you know, that's the month of February might also be the time when you can explore doing something for yourself. And there may be a creative angle with the Sun card that you've been wanting. I think a lot of Cancer people are artistic in their own way. And they may not really develop that for whatever reason. Usually I think it's because of their desire to have a very secure home environment. But you have to, man cannot live by bread alone. You have to have inspiration in life, and that's what your creative life is very important. What's coming in is represented by the King of Wands. There again, I mean, this could be a Leo. I always think of the kings and queens as Leos. And so this could be a male Leo. This person can be also a mentor. And I do think, like, if you are, there's entrepreneurial energy here. This could even be a facet of you, Cancer, where you are taking charge of your life. Again, going back to the Judgment card, there may be some kind of a legal judgment that has kind of like freed you. And it doesn't have to be just with a divorce. I mean, the possibility is with an inheritance that has given you financial freedom, or with some kind of win in the courts that has to do with either a lawsuit or a situation at work where you were not being handled in a fair manner. And it's almost like the word emancipated came into my head right now. So we have a lot of fire energy here because the King of Wands is double masculine yang energy. And, and even the Eight of Wands. We have the Eight of Wands, the Sun card, which is Leo, the Three of Wands in the bottom right, and the King of Wands. The King of Wands is somebody who is self-actualized. So they go through life with a sense of autonomy. And it's like when you have a sense of autonomy, you're not asking people permission to be able to call your own shots. You're just doing it. And I'm not talking about being obnoxious, but I'm talking about you just have like a a very persuasive confidence that there's a difference between when you see somebody who is cocky or obnoxious, those people don't really have a sense of personal power. That's why they are that way. But you see these people that are very self-assured, and they're not walking all over other people. They're just like kind of doing their own thing. And this is what I see for you, is that you feel emancipated to do this in your life. Now, are you doing this, between Christmas and New Year's? I don't know about that. But this can be some development that comes along that is going to lead into this, maybe going into 2020. Now, I could have ended with this card. This is the outcome, and this is the Ten of Swords, which is a card of betrayal and, things like that. But really, in this context, because this reading is so positive, Cancer, I could easily make the case, because this card is also about the end of a cycle, because the number 10 is the end of a cycle, where, you're going to improve. So going back to that Judgment card, if you have endured an unhappy marriage, the judgment, the legal judgment of that dissolving of the union can be what the Ten of Swords represents, the ending of a negative cycle, and kind of like tying up those loose ends so that you can move forward. So the Ace of Swords. So we have the Ten of Swords, and then the Ace of Swords. You can move forward. But you know what? I think also, knowing that the Ace of Swords is in that challenged position, that it's possible that you need to let it sink in that you were betrayed by somebody. That could definitely be a possibility, that you have not really allowed yourself to go there because it's too painful. If it was somebody that you loved or somebody that you trusted, like in a work situation, a coworker, a boss that you thought was your mentor, and they turned out to be anything but that. And so that's how you integrate I don't want to over dramatize it, but like trauma of a situation like that. The outcome, this is a clarification card. Three of Wands. You see the mountains in the background. This is a card of expansion. And again, fire. This is fire. It's Wands. So it's already expansive, but the number 3 is also a number of that. And it's number 3 is a creative number. 2019 has been a number 3 year. And, reflecting on my life and what this year has represented for me, what I have decided, because it hasn't been particularly creative for me, I've decided that if you're not in the right mindset, you create, because you're creating your own reality. You're still a creative being. Even if you're not creating your art or your whatever, you're co-creating your new life. And so you're going to create anxiety or drama or other types of negative thoughts, feelings. So it's like having this canvas, and you're creating, but what is it that you're creating? Take control of your creation. That's what I see with the Three of Wands, is like entrepreneurial energy, taking a product and, taking it to another country, or just taking yourself to another country to establish yourself somewhere else for your own business or what have you, things that pursuing your bliss, following your bliss. And who knows, maybe the Three of Wands, because they have mountains, they're saying that you wanted wider pastures, that you felt somehow constricted by an old relationship, by a job that, didn't live up to its promises. And fire creates confidence and positivity and expansion. And so, go for the gold, Cancer. Okay, that's what I have for you. I'm glad to deliver you this message, Cancer. If you would like an astrological look at 2020 using your natal chart, I'm linking a couple of my videos or readings along those lines, personal readings, and that will take you to my site, which is rainandmoonastrology.com. I hope the rest of your December is magical. Take care. Bye.